he's a farmer, and how come this child ingested this amount of organophosphorus chemical to, so she will say that the bottle was kept inside the house and the child thought that this is a water and he drank. So 15-year-old female who presented with the consumption of some kind of herbicide, the time of consumption was 6:30 p.m. and time of presentation was 10:30, that is 4 hours from after the consumption. So she had one episode of loose motion with some pain in abdomen, but the CNS was normal. There was some kind of pungent odor, salivation was present, sweating, the pupils were bilaterally constricted. So you have a clue that the pupils were less than 1.5 or 1. On examination, the GCS was 15/15. The peripheries were cold. There was hypotension. Respiratory bilateral air entry were present. इधर आके बैठो आगे. उधर नहीं. Air entry was present and there was bilateral creps on auscultation. The respiratory rate was 30. Saturation was 100% at room air and there was no organomegaly. So इसमें what are the important points to note down? What are the important points to note down? How will you note down? 50% of you are not brought your copies, pen, you are just walking in the casual t-shirts and jeans. Welcome to Gen Z, right? New age doctors. You cannot differentiate between a commerce student, art student or a medical student. Anyways, so the point which I want to elaborate here is the pupils. The child was sweaty. There was continuous salivation. So these are the three important points which goes into the favor of organophosphorus poisoning, or leave aside organophosphorus, any kind of chemical poisoning. There is some kind of chemical which the child has ingested. The second point is cold peripheries. The child was in hypotension and shock. So out of all poisons, pesticides are on the top in the non-household poisoning. और भी पीछे जगह है. There is more space on the back benches. आपसे बोल रहा हूँ. Any particular reason क्यों जाके बैठे हो वहां पर? Attendance देके वैसे ही चले जाओ. I have no issue. Please walk in. अभी तो 1 घंटा बाकी है क्लास खत्म होने में. Please. So non-household poisoning में organophosphorus poisoning. Organophosphorus ही क्यों ऊपर आता है? Because in non-edible things which are not present in our house, organophosphorus is the most common compound which is being used everywhere, most commonly in low socioeconomic group or the farmers. In the farming season, this is the most important chemical which is being present in the house. Otherwise, household poisoning में बहुत सारे examples हैं, but we'll talk about organophosphorus today. And in the hydrocarbon, so दो difference हो गए. एक तो organophosphorus, that is the non-household thing. Another chemical or hydrocarbon called kerosene, petrol or diesel. These are also kept in our households, particularly in the festival season, just for cleaning. The father will say that I brought some petrol or kerosene or diesel just to clean my house, and the child had 50-60 ml of that by mistake or accidentally. So these are the two important poisons or organic poisons which we'll be discussing today. Most importantly, you have to differentiate, this is other than your theory part, you have to differentiate that the child himself or herself ingested or someone asked the child to ingest, right? So always all kind of poisoning are medical legal cases, because you don't know that this was an accident or this was a try for homicide, right? We have seen multiple examples, particularly in females, particularly in Rajasthan, that 11-12-year-old girl ingested organophosphorus after she recovered, she told that I myself was not the culprit. Someone else asked me to drink it. We'll not discuss this further, but you have to differentiate. So organophosphorus compounds are commonly used in pesticides in agricultural sector mainly. They have a characteristic garlicky smell. So very pungent smell will be present while you are examining the child, the oral cavity, or you are intubating the child. You will see that there is some kind of garlicky smell which is coming out. So this has to be the catch point that the child might have the organophosphorus poisoning. They have lethal effects in human and is the one of the leading cause of poisoning in pediatric population. Although there are many cases on the adult side as well that the farmer or some kind of female had this organophosphorus which is readily available. The poisons may result from inhalation, that is fumes, ingestion, or absorption from skin surface. So we have few examples that the father was working in the field and there was the exposure of organophosphorus compound through the skin, and the child presented with vomiting and pain in abdomen only with no CNS signs. Children are at high risk of poisoning due to high body surface area and high minute ventilation. So what is minute ventilation? What do you mean by the second point, high minute ventilation? What is the normal respiratory rate of a pediatric population in pediatric population? 30 to 35, right? And what is the respiratory rate in adults? आप में कितनी है? 15 to 20 at max. ठीक है ना? When you will run, the respiratory rate will go up till 30, 35, but routinely your respiratory rate is around 15 to 18. So the respiratory rate is just double as compared to adults. So the inhalation will be double. In a particular time, in a particular duration, you will inhale X amount, and a pediatric child or infant will inhale 2x the amount. So the exposure will be high. Organophosphorus examples most commonly used in the pesticides are malathion, parathion, diazinon, right? TEPP, HETP. These are the all names. You just have to remember these three. First, second, third, and fourth. Most common is malathion, right? So if someone asks you which is the compound or which is the name of the chemical used as of organophosphorus in the herbicide or pesticide, so malathion and parathion are the best examples. Organophosphorus are lipid soluble compounds, so they are well absorbed after the skin contact, oral mucous membrane, conjunctiva, GI, and respiratory tract. Due to high lipid solubility, they even cross easily, will go into the brain and will penetrate through the blood brain barrier and will lead to potent CNS side effects. So the CNS side effects are always the last, because if the amount is only 5 ml, there will be GI complications first. If the exposure has been through the skin, there will be local effects. But if the amount is on the higher side, the child will have all kind of effects, mainly sweating, diarrhea, severe pain in abdomen, vomiting. The pupils will go down and there will be CNS complications as well later on. They are rapidly distributed in all body tissues with highest concentration in the liver and kidney. Why? Why there is highest concentration of in liver and kidney? बोलो बोलो. So every drug or any kind of organic thing which we are taking, food, drugs, all kind of ingestion, the metabolism is through liver and excretion is through kidney. So highest amount will be in liver and kidney. The elimination is by urine mainly. So the presentation time is 30 minutes to 3 hours. Recovery, average recovery time is 8 to 10 days, and the most fatalities or the most mortalities are documented within first 24 hours. So what are the pharmacokinetics? The organophosphates bind irreversibly to the enzyme acetylcholinesterase. This is the important slide. If you will be asked the pathophysiology of organophosphorus poisoning, this has to be mentioned. So the organophosphates bind irreversibly to the enzyme acetylcholinesterase and will prevent the breakdown of acetylcholine, because acetylcholinesterase is used for the breakdown of acetylcholine. The accumulation of acetylcholine, which will lead to all kind of symptoms which we have just seen. The most features, initial features presentation will appear when the cholinesterase activities go down below 30%. So ऐसा नहीं होगा कि the child had 5 ml of this this compound and the cholinesterase activities is around 50-60% and the child will go down. No, if the activity of this enzyme falls below 30%, then only the child will present with all kind of symptoms. Otherwise, the child will have normal symptoms of vomiting, irritability. If the child is infant, he will just cry because of some amount of pain in abdomen, vomiting and diarrhea. Now, what you will give for reactivation? So pralidoxim breaks the bonds between the organophosphate and enzyme, thus reactivating this enzyme, which is called acetylcholinesterase. This process is called reactivation. So pralidoxim is the drug of choice for the patients who have organophosphorus poisoning. What is aging? If left untreated, the organophosphates form an irreversible bond, will permanently inactivate this enzyme, and this process is called aging. So if you will not treat the patient, the level of this enzyme will go down till 0 or 5%, and this process will be called aging. Acetylcholine works through two receptors, nicotinic and muscarinic. ये आपने pharmacology में पढ़ा ही होगा. So organophosphorus poisoning will be responsible and will be acting on these two receptors. So what is the function of nicotinic and what is the function of muscarinic? Anyone? लिखा हुआ सामने. फार्माकोलॉजी में किसके हाईएस्ट मार्क्स थे? जिसके थे वो भी नहीं बोलेगा नहीं. So nicotinic receptors mainly work on neuromuscular junctions, autonomic ganglia and mainly CNS. Muscarinic receptors are mainly responsible for CNS symptoms, cardiovascular system, smooth muscle. There will be abnormal contractures of the skin, CNS, and mainly the most important component of this receptor is लिखा हुआ है सामने. Any kind of chemical ingestion, there will be tachycardia, right? There will be abnormal heart contraction to increase the heart rate. So these are the receptors responsible. Again, the same examples with the manifestations on the right. Now, how will you classify this organophosphorus poisoning into mild, moderate and severe? So as per the enzyme levels, we send the enzyme levels just to document that what level is the enzyme activity present, and as per this enzyme activity we monitor the child. So in mild cases, the child can be able to answer you, he will be able to walk, he will be able to give answers, there will be some kind of mild abdominal discomfort. Next class में टाइम है भी, आ जाओ. In moderate, there will be some kind of fasciculations present, as we have discussed. The neuromuscular junction will be involved, right? So, and most importantly, there will be meiosis and the child will be very anxious and very irritable. In severe category, the child will lose the Glasgow coma scale will be going down, the child will be unconscious, he might be present in coma. So most of the children who present to us are in the third category, because at the household or at the village level, there will be some kind of delay. The child will be at home for 5-6 hours. Then the parents will call the local doctor. The local doctor will examine, will give some kind of treatment. And after the child lands up in poor sensorium, then the child will be brought to your hospital or vicinity. I have only seen 4-5 cases of माइल्ड कैटेगरी के एक्सपोजर हुआ और उसके आधे घंटे में बच्चा आ गया, लेके नहीं आते, वो सोचते हैं कि ठीक है कुछ नहीं है, we'll just wash off through water and it will be okay. So there will be 4 presentations: type 1, type 2, type 3 and type 4. Most is type 1 is acute cholinergic, type 2 is intermediate syndrome, and type 3 is organophosphate induced delayed polyneuropathy. So most of the patients present to us in type 2 and type 3 category, and type 4 is chronic organophosphate induced neuropsychiatric disorder. So the type 4 category is when the child recovers from the acute stage, and after 2 or 3 days the child had some kind of CNS left over. The child will be anxious, there will be fasciculations, he will talk abnormally. So these are the children who are labeled as type 4 or neuropsychiatric disorder. So what are the sympathetic and parasympathetic presentation? This is the mnemonic on your left. These are the various presentation at the time when the child will be in front of you in the ER, pediatric ER. So diarrhea, urination, meiosis, bradycardia or tachycardia, bronchospasm, emesis, lacrimation, lethargy, salivation and seizures. So all these activities are clearly showing that the enzyme is not working, and there is accumulation of acetylcholine in the body, and because of high acetylcholine levels, this is the presentation, this is the mnemonic, if you can remember. On the contrary, there is another mnemonic which is salivation, lacrimation, urination, diarrhea, GI cramp, emesis. This mnemonic is for only type 1 and type 2 presentation, because the presentation type is bit mild to moderate. On the contrary, the child who is presenting with seizures or poor GCS, the child is already in the severe category. What is the dose? What is the treatment for organophosphorus poisoning? एसिटाइलकोलिन इकट्ठा हो गया है, व्हाट नेक्स्ट? एक तो ड्रग बता दिया प्रालिडॉक्सिम, उसके पहले क्या देंगे? एट्रोपिन क्या करता है? एक जना बोलो कोई भी, तुम हमेशा पोस्टिंग में आते हो ना विद ग्लासेस? हाँ हाँ, आप बताओ। वेरी गुड। तो एट्रोपिन जैसे ही हम देंगे तो फिर हाउ विल द एट्रोपिन विल रिस्पॉन्ड? सबसे पहले क्या ठीक होगा इसमें से? ओवरऑल सीक्रेशंस कम होंगे, एंड सलाइवेशन कम होगा, एंड मियोसिस इतनी जल्दी ठीक नहीं होती है, बट इट विल टेक सम टाइम. सो एट्रोपिन डोज हैज टू बी डिसाइडेड. कहाँ रहते हो? मैं अजमेर रोड रहता हूँ. अगली बार लेते हुए आ जाऊंगा. आओ. So atropine dose has to be titrated. There is no fixed amount. There is no fixed duration. Atropine dose is decided on the presentation of the child. कितना required है at the time of presentation. Many a times single dose is enough. Many a times atropine has to be given for 2 or 3 days. So what is intermediate syndrome? Onset 24 hours to 1 week after organophosphorus poisoning. This can occur due to organophosphate deposit in adipose tissue. That is, as I've already told previously, that it is a fat soluble compound, so it can deposit in adipose tissue. There are long lasting cholinesterase inhibition. So because of this inhibition, acetylcholine deposits, and all the sign and symptoms which are present in the body is because of this acetylcholine. So what is the presentation? Ocular muscles. So if the ocular muscles, neck muscles, weakness in the proximal limbs, respiratory muscles, diaphragm, intercostal muscle, so basically all muscular activity is affected. There will be abnormal contractions of the muscle. Abnormal contraction का मतलब क्या होगा? ये सही थी. So abnormal contraction का मतलब क्या होगा? There will be, सबसे पहले बच्चे को मियोसिस से प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी, है ना, उसको पता भी नहीं होगा कि मियोसिस हो रही है. अडल्ट्स में मियोसिस से प्रॉब्लम होती है. So pediatric population में the child won't get affected by meiosis, but there will be significant bronchospasm. So the child will feel that there is difficulty in respiration. The child won't be able to respire properly. There will be tachypnea. There will be distress. There will be intercostal retractions. So this is the exact presentation of abnormal muscular activity. Ocular muscles, maybe there will be some kind of twitching. There will be abnormal involuntary movements. That could be seizures if the CNS is involved, and वो involuntary muscular activity भी हो सकती है, that are not seizures. So ODIDP, that is delayed polyneuropathy. So there will be a time when the abnormal twitching or abnormal contractions of the muscle will get over, and the child will enter into the flaccid phase. There will be muscular weakness. The musculars will be loose and flaccid. This is not presented acutely, but after some time of exposure, right? So if you will see the last point, stalking anesthesia, high stepping gait, wrist and foot drop, calf pain. I have not seen a single patient with this presentation. In pediatric population, either the child survives or there is a mortality. I mean, 100% of the times the rate of survival is around 50 to 75%, and the mortality is around 25%. In adults, this is the exact presentation. After the exposure, 15 to 25 days, the patient will be in your OPD and he will say that I cannot feel my hand, there is a wrist drop, there is a foot drop, I am not able to work, I am anxious, basically the routine of the patient will be disturbed. This presentation and the acute presentation have some kind of gap in between, right? So initially the patient will say that I was okay after the discharge, but this problem has occurred from this morning only. Again, I am a bit anxious, there is a sleep cycle disturbance, the muscles are flaccid, foot drop, etc., etc. Now, what are the investigation? How will you diagnose that the child is having organophosphorus poisoning? एक तो आपने एग्जामिन करके बताया कि हो सकता है कि organophosphorus poisoning हो. Most of the times you are right, but there are some exceptions as well. So you have to send the blood samples for cholinesterase levels. This is the gold standard investigation. ये आपने document कर लिया, so that means that your diagnosis is absolutely right. Response to atropine. एक atropine के dose देने के बाद the patient will respond. Then you can be rest assured that this case is of organophosphorus poisoning. Hyperglycemia, it may or may not be presented, particularly in children, because in children hypoglycemia is the main presentation, and only ABG finding which we can rely on is metabolic acidosis. So there will be metabolic acidosis in all patients of organophosphorus poisoning. In ECG, there will be QTC prolongation. It can be present in any kind of poisoning. So this is not the main point. The main point is cholinesterase levels, which you have to document. Raised amylase levels, again, it may correlate with any kind of shock. X-ray, RFT and LFTs can be deranged in any kind of poisoning. What is the goal of your treatment? The first goal of treatment in any disease, any poisoning is एक पेशेंट आपके इमरजेंसी में एंटर होता है, उसको कुछ भी डायग्नोसिस है, उसका कुछ भी प्रेजेंटेशन है, वो किसी भी कंडीशन में है, हर डिजीज में एक ही गोल होता है. वो क्या गोल है? ABC, एयरवे, ब्रीदिंग एंड सर्कुलेशन. आप ये बाद में दिमाग लगाते हो कि बच्चे को हुआ क्या है, आपको बाद में रियलाइज होता है कि इसमें से कुछ अजीब सी स्मेल आ रही है. गेट लगा दो आप. राइट? सो व्हेन यू आर एग्जामिनिंग द चाइल्ड, मदर ये बोलेगी नहीं कि द चाइल्ड हैड ऑर्गेनोफॉस्फोरस पॉइजनिंग. ऐसा कभी नहीं होगा. ठीक है? होगा क्या? द चाइल्ड विल बी इन द लैप ऑफ द मदर. वो बोलेगी ये 1 घंटे से ऐसे सांस ले रहा है, बस. क्योंकि मदर या फादर उस सेंस में नहीं होते कि आप उनसे डिटेल हिस्ट्री लो कि भाई आप काम क्या करते हो, फर्टिलाइजर कौन सा यूज करते हो, कौन से ब्रांड का है, कहाँ से लिया था, कहाँ रखा था, कुछ भी नहीं होता। जब पेशेंट आपके सामने आता है तो उस समय यू विल एग्जामिन द पेशेंट, उस समय आपको रियलाइज होता है कि कुछ अजीब सी स्मेल आ रही है इसमें से। और व्हेन यू हैव सीन एन नंबर ऑफ ऑर्गेनोफॉस्फोरस पॉइजनिंग केसेस, तो पेशेंट जब एंटर होता है गेट से, आप उसी समय समझ जाते हो कि ऑर्गेनोफॉस्फोरस पॉइजनिंग आ रहा है। क्योंकि छोटा बच्चा जब पीता है तो उसके कपड़ों में सबसे ज्यादा गिरा हुआ होता है, तो माउथ से तो स्मेल आती है। द ड्रेस विच ही और शी इज वेयरिंग, उसमें से भी गार्लिक की स्मेल आपको आएगी, और वो सिग्निफिकेंट होती है बहुत। तो देन यू कैन रियलाइज दैट दिस इज द केस ऑफ ऑर्गेनोफॉस्फोरस पॉइजनिंग। और एनी काइंड ऑफ पॉइजनिंग, वी हैव एन नंबर ऑफ केसेस जिसमें बच्चे ऑल आउट पी लेते हैं। ऑल आउट होता है, मदर फादर बोलते हैं कि बच्चा खेल रहा था, अचानक वॉमिटिंग होने लगी, हमको पता नहीं चला कि वाई द चाइल्ड इज वॉमिटिंग। पर लेकिन जब वो इमरजेंसी में लेके आए तो एक वो अजीब स्मेल होती है, तब फिजिशियन ने पूछा कि घर में ऑल आउट था क्या, बोले था, तो एक बार देख कर आओ। तो वो बॉटल टूटी मिलती है, या फिर जो उसका जो निब होता है वो टूटा हुआ होता है। तो देर आर एन नंबर ऑफ पॉइजनिंग्स, हाउस होल्ड पॉइजनिंग, बट यू हैव टू रियलाइज कि हुआ क्या है। मॉइस्चराइजर पीना, हेयर ऑयल पीना, टेल्कम पाउडर खा लेना, मिर्ची खा लेना, हल्दी खा लेना, देर आर एन नंबर ऑफ एग्जाम्पल्स हाउस होल्ड। वॉशिंग पाउडर खा के आ जाना, वॉशिंग पाउडर से तो बहुत सीवियर बर्न होता है, एल्कलोटिक होता है। कभी वॉशिंग पाउडर को हाथ में लेके 2 बूंद पानी डालिए उस पर, क्या होता है, गर्म फील होता है कि नहीं होता? नहीं होता। वॉशिंग पाउडर कहाँ यूज करते होगे? चलो, तो द फर्स्ट एम ऑफ एनी काइंड ऑफ पीडियाट्रिक इमरजेंसी मैनेजमेंट इज ABC, दैट इज एयरवे, एडिक्वेट ब्रीदिंग एंड सर्कुलेशन। अब इसका क्या मतलब होता है? व्हाट डू मीन बाय एयरवे, व्हाट डू मीन बाय ब्रीदिंग? जैसे कि आजकल टीचर्स AI हो गए ना पढ़ाने के लिए, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, स्टूडेंट्स भी AI हो जाएंगे। AI को पढ़ाएगा, जरूरत ही नहीं है ना हमारी और तुम्हारी। कितना भी AI आ जाए, ध्यान रखना एक चीज, कितना भी AI आ जाए, 10 साल, 15 साल, 20 साल, 25 साल, जो फिजिकल वर्क है वो AI इज नॉट एबल टू डू, विल नॉट बी एबल टू डू, राइट? So any kind of work as a medico which we are learning and which we will do in the near future, maybe radiologist, maybe medicine, cardiologist, nephrologist, AI can always support you. AI is a good teacher, but he cannot sit in the exams and cannot write the exams. ठीक है, हद से हद ये हो जाएगा, आफ्टर 5-10 years आपसे बोला जाएगा कि आपको पेपर लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, जस्ट टाइप, दैट्स इट। उसके और 10 साल बाद ये हो सकता है कि लिखने की भी जरूरत नहीं है, टाइप करने की जरूरत भी नहीं है, जस्ट रिसाइट एंड द नहीं, प्लीज अटेंडेंस ले लूंगा बाद में ना, अटेंडेंस दे देना। यू कैन जस्ट रीड, यू कैन जस्ट प्रोनाउंस एंड इट विल गेट रिकॉर्डेड, ये हो सकता है। बट ये कभी नहीं होगा कि आप एक चिप लगा के आ रहे हो and everything is dependent on that chip. That won't be possible, particularly in medical field. बिजनेस में हो सकता है, IT सेक्टर में हो सकता है, सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलप पहले ह्यूमन करता था, अब कंप्यूटर कर रहा है, वो हो सकता है, पर हमारा और आपका काम कभी डिपेंडेंट नहीं हो सकता। इंटूबेटिंग अ चाइल्ड इज द प्राइम थिंग, मेंटेनिंग द एयरवे इज द प्राइम थिंग टू रन एन पीडियाट्रिक ER। अगर आपको इंटूबेशन नहीं आता, देन यू विल नॉट बी अ पार्ट ऑफ पीडियाट्रिक ER। Maintaining a patent airway, the child is gasping, you don't know what has exactly happened, but first thing you will do is to secure the airway, to maintain good FiO2 so that there is proper flow of oxygen, and thirdly to maintain the blood pressure. If the blood pressure is on the lower side, you will give boluses, IV cannula placement. So these are the things which you have to do. AI or any kind of computer won't be able to do, this is for sure. So oxygen support and ventilation. Now how to reduce the absorption of toxin? So first of all, जैसे मैंने पहले बताया, remove all kind of dress or cloth which the child is having, because उसमें drug है, वो उसमें chemical is present which is getting inhaled again and again. अगर skin absorption हुआ है तो then you have to wash the skin through soap and water, and always used gloves while examining the child, otherwise आपको exposure होगा. ठीक है. Gastric lavage should be present if the exposure is under 1 to 2 hours. अगर 1 घंटे पहले exposure हुआ है, 2 घंटे पहले हुआ है, तो gastric lavage should be done. Otherwise, there is no role of gastric lavage if the exposure has been done 5-6 hours before. Role of activated charcoal is absolute, not contraindicated, but in pediatric we generally don't use this. In adults, you may be having a short note on any kind of poisoning. In adults, you should always write activated charcoal, but in pediatric population, we generally don't use it. As previously described, atropine should be given at a single go. So airway, breathing, circulation, IV cannula, all being done. And the first drug which you will give is atropine if you are sure that this is the organophosphorus poisoning. And on the contrary, while you are managing the child, airway, breathing and whatever, your colleague will do the ECG. Your colleague will take a detailed history with the father and mother. ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है कि आपको ऑर्गेनोफॉस्फोरस लग रहा हो, ऑर्गेनोफॉस्फोरस की बोतल में हेयर ऑयल हो, तो कुछ भी हो सकता है. ठीक है ना. तो गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड बोतल की स्मेल आ रही हो और जो अंदर कंपाउंड हो वो हेयर ऑयल हो, मोटर ऑयल हो, दुनिया भर की चीजें हो सकती हैं, पेट्रोल हो, डीजल हो, लेकिन बोतल हो आपकी पेस्टिसाइड की, तो इन रूरल एरियाज कुछ भी पॉसिबल है. ठीक है. There was one case, I think last year, the child was presented to, I think the child was 4-5 years of age, and the father and mother said the child was sitting happily, no complaints, active, but the father and mother came and said that the child ingested gobar. So I asked how come. So they said the gobar was kept, or the dung was kept in a mud pot, मटके में रखा हुआ था. तो बच्चे ने सोचा कि मक्खन है, दिखता तो है नहीं, सीधे हाथ से लेके खा गया. Although there was no consequences, so in rural areas anything can be possible. ठीक है. We have seen multiple cases of insect biting the patient, and patient had the insect. There was some kind of insect in the house, the child just took and ingested. The mother saw, she came to the pediatric ER, she said he just had some kind of insect I cannot describe. So I asked what was the size of the insect or the bug. So she said this big. So was it a grasshopper? Sir, I don't know. So was it a praying mantis? Sir, I don't know. So you have to admit the child for at least 5 to 6 hours to document any kind of GI complications, hemodynamic complications. If there is no complications, then you will discharge the child. So any kind of thing which is non-edible is poisoning. Any kind of thing, चाहे वो organic हो, non-organic हो, insect हो, animal excreta हो, कुछ भी हो. ठीक है. Point number 2 is oximes, that is pralidoxime. We will discuss in the next slide. So specific management में atropine sulfate should be given at a dose of 0.05 to 0.1 milligram per kg IV, and it can be repeated 2 or 3 times in next 24 to 48 hours if the symptoms are persisting. If there is no meiosis, if the meiosis has vanished, then you can stop giving atropine. So what is the end point for atropine therapy? Drying up all secretions, the chest becomes clear, heart rate is around 80 to 90, the BP is around 80 mm of Hg, urine output is maintained, the pupils are normal now, the mouth is dry with dry skin. So because initially the child presented with sweat, so now the skin is dry, so that means the effect of poison has vanished. ऐसा भी होता है कि आप एट्रोपिन देते जा रहे हो और एट्रोपिन टॉक्सिसिटी हो गई. सो व्हाट आर द साइंस फॉर एट्रोपिन टॉक्सिसिटी? देयर विल बी यूरिनरी रिटेंशन. ये फर्स्ट साइन होगा, बिकॉज every secretion of your body will be dried up. There will be some kind of anaphylactic reaction, arrhythmia may be there, absent bowel movement, photophobia. इतनी ज्यादा इतनी ज्यादा प्यूपिल डायलेट हो गई कि थोड़ी सी लाइट से भी उसको फोटोफोबिया सेंस हो रहा है. ड्रग ऑफ चॉइस, और पर्टिकुलरली दिस ड्रग शुड बी यूज्ड एज एन एंटीडोट. ठीक है. द डोज इज around 25 to 30 mg per kg IV over half an hour, and after giving the first bolus dose, infusion should be initiated, which should be continued for next 24 to 48 hours. Normal IV fluids to compensate the loss of hypersecretion, sweating and diarrhea. Diazepam or any kind of anti-epileptic drug for management of seizures. Antibiotic may be used if required. The child should be monitored for airway. Again, monitoring also comprises of three things: airway, breathing and circulation. Mainly is hemodynamic monitoring, so ECG, blood pressure and SpO2 should be monitored. Observation for next 24 hours, and as a measure of documentation, the area Anganwadi or PHC should always be informed that there is a case of poisoning from your vicinity, and this has to be documented. वो क्या करेंगे? वो ये करेंगे कि जब बच्चा या जो भी घर वापस जाएगा तो उस फैमिली को और उस एरिया की फैमिली को दे विल एजुकेट दैट प्रॉपर स्टोरेज ऑफ पेस्टिसाइड अवे फ्रॉम चिल्ड्रन इज मैंडेटरी. तो फिर स्टोर कैसे करेंगे? हाउ विल दे स्टोर पेस्टिसाइड? घर में तो रखना पड़ेगा क्योंकि फार्मर है, उसको कल मॉर्निंग में लेके जाना है, आज शाम को वो खरीद के लेके आया. हाउ विल दे स्टोर? बताओ. आप होते तो क्या करते? छोड़ो यार, अपने आप देख लेगा. बताओ क्या करते? जोर से बोल दो. लेके नहीं आते? फिर हाइट पे रखते. हाइट पे, अगर हाइट पे कैसे रखते? उनके घर में अलमारियां तो होती नहीं है. एवरीथिंग इज रिलेटेड टू माइथोलॉजी. भगवान कृष्ण की मदर क्या करती थी? सो देर आर टू वेज. फर्स्ट पॉइंट ऑफ एजुकेशन इज डोंट ओपन द कैन. इफ द कैन इज प्रेजेंट ऑन द फ्लोर, इट शुड बी अनओपन. राइट? बच्चा उसको खोल नहीं पाएगा. अगर वो ओपनड है तो ऑलवेज कीप द कैन एट हाइट. अब हाइट पे कैसे रखोगे? एलमेरा है तो एलमेरा के ऊपर, नहीं तो उसको सीलिंग से टांग दोगे. ठीक है. दिस हैज टू बी एजुकेटेड बिकॉज दिस इज ऑर्गेनोफॉस्फोरस पॉइजनिंग. बिलीव मी, इज अ वेरी 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 कॉमन पॉइजनिंग. हर तीसरे चौथे घर में होती है जब ये फार्मिंग का सीजन आता है. ठीक है. और हाइड्रोकार्बन इंजेक्शन जो नेक्स्ट में है अभी, वो हर तीसरे चौथे घर में होती है जब दिवाली आती है. वी हैव n नंबर ऑफ केसेस ऑफ केरोसिन पॉइजनिंग, पेट्रोल, हाइड्रोकार्बन पॉइजनिंग इन द दिवाली सीजन. सो केस नंबर 2, अटेंडेंस लिखना स्टार्ट कर दो. 9 months old female presented to emergency with accidental ingestion of around 15 ml of hydrocarbon. On admission, the child was drowsy, abnormal respiration, poor sensorium. She was intubated in ER, and this was the X-ray. So how will this hydrocarbon affect? जैसे कि उसमें हमने देखा कि एसिटाइलकोलिन लेवल्स विल इंक्रीज. इसमें क्या होगा? बताओ. How will this hydrocarbon affect after getting ingested? प्रॉक्सी इसलिए मत लगाना क्योंकि आप अटेंडेंस लिख रहे हो, मैं काउंट कर लूंगा, फिर इसमें क्रॉस मैच करूंगा, फिर रैंडमली काट दूंगा नंबर, क्योंकि इसमें वही नंबर रह जाएंगे जितने नंबर यहाँ प्रेजेंट हैं. तो आपका भी कट सकता है और जो नहीं आया उसका भी, तो रिस्क है. ठीक है. सो आफ्टर गेटिंग इंजेक्शन, आपने देखा होगा कि अगर हाइड्रोकार्बन एक बॉटल के अंदर है, आपने बॉटल का जैसे कैन खोला तो यू कैन स्मेल द हाइड्रोकार्बन. इसके इतने सिग्निफिकेंट फ्यूम्स होते हैं. इनफैक्ट अगर आपने नोट किया हो, जब पेट्रोल पंप पे आप पेट्रोल भरवा रहे हो तो यू कैन सी द फ्यूम्स एज वेल. देखे ना? सो इतने पंजेंट और इतने स्ट्रॉन्ग फ्यूम्स होते हैं. सो आफ्टर गेटिंग इंजेक्शन, if the hydrocarbon has reached the stomach, the fumes will come back and it will affect the lung mucosa. So इसमें pain in abdomen, diarrhea ऐसी कोई भी चीज नहीं होती. इसमें there is a layer on the mucosa, gastric mucosa, esophageal mucosa, and the fumes will enter into the lungs and the parenchyma of the lungs will be affected. You can say there is some kind of burn in the parenchyma of the lungs, and as the time will pass, so हाइड्रोकार्बन पॉइजनिंग का जो इफेक्ट होता है वो एक्यूटली कभी होता ही नहीं है. एक्यूटली द चाइल्ड विल बी हैप्पी एंड ही विल जस्ट बी इरिटेबल बिकॉज ऑफ द स्मेल, बट आफ्टर सम टाइम व्हेन द पेरेन्काइमा विल गेट इन्वॉल्व, द SpO2 will start to dip after a day or two. So this is the X-ray of this particular child. There is some kind of infiltration here only, but in the CT scan you can see there is complete whiteout at the basal area, bilateral lungs, right here. So the X-ray was on at the time of presentation and the CT was done after 2 days. So hydrocarbon injection is the most common accidental. हाइड्रोकार्बन में भी क्या, पेट्रोल, डीजल और केरोसिन क्या होता है ज्यादा? रूरल एरियाज में तो केरोसिन ही होता है, आज भी यूज हो रहा है, स्टोव्स में भी यूज होता है. 5% ऑफ ऑल एक्सीडेंटल पॉइजनिंग आर ऑफ हाइड्रोकार्बन इंजेक्शन. अगेन स्टोरेज इज अ प्रॉब्लम, लाइक ऑर्गेनोफॉस्फोरस पॉइजनिंग. मिट्टी का तेल एक कैन में पड़ा हुआ है, चलो कैन तो फिर भी दिख जाएगा, कोल्ड ड्रिंक की बोतल में पड़ा हुआ है, राइट. पेप्सी की बोतल आती थी पहले, अभी भी आती होगी बड़ी वाली, वो खाली करके उसको यूज स्टोरेज में ही होती है, वो उसी में पानी होता है, उसी में केरोसिन होता है. तो बच्चे को नहीं पता कि इसमें पानी नहीं केरोसिन है, और इंजेक्शन, एक्सीडेंटल इंजेक्शन अकर्स. द विस्कोसिटी ऑफ एनी कंपाउंड इज द प्रॉपर्टी टू रेजिस्ट फ्लो और चेंज. वाटर इसोफेजियल म्यूकोजा के थ्रू जाएगा तो इट विल पास ऑफ. ऑन द कॉन्ट्रेरी कोई थिक सब्सटेंस है जिसकी डेंसिटी ज्यादा है तो वो विल गेट स्टिक टू द म्यूकोजा एंड विल इफेक्ट मोर. So in the presentation, I'll just directly come on to the pathophysiology of respiratory system. So there will be a formation of pneumonia, which we have seen in the previous CT scan following the hydrocarbon poisoning, mainly due to aspiration or GI absorption. Ingestion of small amount also may lead to this pathophysiology. Even a small amount of hydrocarbon, 5 to 8 ml, can lead to the damage to parenchyma of respiratory tract. CNS wise, although the CNS injury is not more potent because the hydrocarbon won't enter the CNS, but there will be anxiety, irritability because of the hydrocarbon poisoning. So in presentation, the respiratory system, there will be coughing, choking, tachypnea, cyanosis, maybe hemoptysis, which I have not seen. CNS wise, there will be drowsiness, lightheadedness, dizziness, euphoria, headache. Any kind of CNS presentation may be there. And also, if the exposure is with a decent amount, then the child can land up in seizures and coma as well. In GI system, there will be nausea, vomiting, pain in abdomen, diarrhea, and there can be arrhythmias as well. Investigation of choice is X-ray, arterial gas, and CBC and hematological evaluation. Now, what is the treatment? So there is no antidote. First of all, for any kind of hydrocarbon poisoning, there is no antidote. We had a patient in Sir Gangaram Hospital, I think 8-9 years back. So she presented with the same kind of presentation, but the smell was not of petrol or diesel. आपके पीछे आपको कौन सी पॉइजनिंग हुई है? तो टाइम है क्लास खत्म होने में, इतनी नींद आती है सुबह सुबह. So there was no significant smell. We could not identify that what kind of oil is this, right? So the child presented with respiratory distress. The child was intubated, was kept and treated on ventilator, and we did a bronchoscopy. we took the sample from the lung and we sent this sample for evaluation in forensic lab at AIIMS. So they said we cannot identify the nature of the compound, but this is not hydrocarbon. Matlab, this is not any kind of oil which is used for automobiles. So the normal treatment was continued. We had around 8-9 bronchoscopic procedures. The child got extubated, I think, 2 weeks after the exposure. After the extubation, the child was sitting with her grandmother. So at 5 a.m. in the morning, when I was taking the round, the grandmother was putting some kind of oil in her nose in ICU. So I asked her, ki, what is that? So she said, this is the rosemary oil. So I asked her, ki, this is the first episode which you are doing, or you are doing this for ages? So she said that I have been doing this for past 1 month. So basically what had happened, there was accumulation of this rosemary oil in the nasal mucosa, and from the nasal mucosa, this entered into the lung parenchyma and got accumulated. So we asked the parents that what exactly had happened. So parents did not know anything. We asked in detail, and she said that around 2 to 3 ml of rosemary oil was being given by Nani daily in both nostrils. So roughly 3 to 4 ml reached the lung parenchyma daily for 15 to 20 days. So अगर एक एवरेज भी पकड़ें तो 45 ml से 50 ml रोजमेरी ऑयल, जो कि 1000 रुपए का आता है 50 ml आज की डेट में, ठीक है, तो वो उसने डाला और वो एक्यूमुलेट होता गया. अच्छा, रोजमेरी ऑयल की स्मेल ऐसी पंजेंट नहीं होती कि द चाइल्ड गॉट इरिटेटेड और एंग्शियस. द पेशेंट वाज कंप्लीटली नॉर्मल. One fine day in the morning, the child had respiratory distress out of the blue. So that was the point of presentation. So at the examination and history, it is very, very important to identify that what has exactly happened. अगर वो नहीं बताती तो वो बच्चा ऐसे डिस्चार्ज होता, घर जाता और रोजमेरी ऑयल फिर शुरू हो जाता, क्योंकि नानी को पता ही नहीं था ये रोजमेरी ऑयल की वजह से हुआ है, क्योंकि निमोनिया, it was a pneumonia for them, right? So pneumonia could be infectious only. So this is the first point. Treatment wise, there is no antidote of hydrocarbon ingestion. Supportive treatment, maintaining the airway, maintaining the blood pressure, respiratory rate for next 3 to 4 days is the trick here. Point number 1. Point number 2, if the child has developed pneumonia, which he will be developing as we have seen in the CT scan, so treatment of pneumonia is important and should be done at the as per the hospital protocol policy. What antibiotics you are using, it entirely depends on the hospital policy. Gastric lavage is absolute contraindication in any kind of hydrocarbon poisoning. Why? So हाइड्रोकार्बन इंजेक्शन हुआ, डीजल या फिर पेट्रोल जो भी है, और उसके 15-20 मिनट्स में आपके पास ईआर में आ गया, तो आपकी टीचिंग क्या कहती है कि किसी भी पॉइजनिंग में गैस्ट्रिक लवाज कर दो अगर 1 घंटे या 2 घंटे के अंदर प्रेजेंटेशन है. आप यहां पर गैस्ट्रिक लवाज करोगे एंड इफ द चाइल्ड वॉमिट आउट, देयर विल बी exposure to the mucosa directly and indirectly, and the child will aspirate and there will be aspiration pneumonia, and this may lead to significant development of pneumonia or significant damage to lung parenchyma. There is a possibility that the child might never come out of the ventilator. If the child has no presentation, there are cases as well कि 5 ml डीजल पी के आ गया, देयर इज नो प्रेजेंटेशन, बट मदर ने पीते हुए देख लिया था, मदर हॉस्पिटल लेके आती है, तो डोंट रिफ्यूज द एडमिशन, एडमिट द चाइल्ड, मॉनिटर द चाइल्ड फॉर अ डे और 2. इफ देर आर नो सिम्टम्स, डिस्चार्ज द चाइल्ड. इफ देर इज एनी काइंड ऑफ प्रेजेंटेशन, देन ट्रीट एज पर द हॉस्पिटल पॉलिसी. This was the child who presented to us with the hydrocarbon ingestion. The hydrocarbon was kept in a bottle of cold drink, the glass bottle, जो कांच की बोतल आती है ना, उसमें. Father was a, I think, painter by profession. He said कि मैं लेके आया था, घर में पेंटिंग वगैरह करनी थी, अपने घर के लिए लेके आया था. बॉटल में अब ढक्कन तो होता नहीं है ग्लास की बोतल में, ऊपर एक रबर कॉर्क जैसा या फिर कुछ लगाया हुआ था, एंड वो रखा भी उसने कहाँ हुआ था, साइड में फ्लोर पर। तो बच्चे को तो द इन्फेंट एक्सप्लोर्स द वर्ल्ड थ्रू हिज माउथ। आप बच्चे को खाना पकड़ाओ तो मुंह में जाएगा, जूता पकड़ाओ तो भी मुंह में जाएगा, उसको नहीं पता ये एडिबल है नॉन एडिबल है। ही एक्सप्लोर्स द वर्ल्ड थ्रू हिज माउथ। एक ब्लाइंड पर्सन को हम कुछ चीजें हाथ में देंगे तो ही विल फील विद हिज हैंड, ऑन द कॉन्ट्रेरी बच्चा हाथ में फील करता ही नहीं है, जैसे ही पकड़ाओगे वो। तो इसीलिए द चाइल्ड हैड अराउंड 15 to 20 ml ऑफ दिस हाइड्रोकार्बन एंड ही प्रेजेंटेड टू आवर pediatric ER after 1.5 hours of the ingestion. He got intubated. He was there with us for 2 weeks. The child had significant pneumonia but eventually got extubated and was discharged. चलो अटेंडेंस दे दो।